Welcome friends, in this video we're going to learn about adding users, adding logins, removing users and logins, and then giving permissions on an object to a user. So crank up SSMS and let's begin here. On the left side, expand the security node in the Object Explorer, that is, and we're going to begin by adding a login. So right click on logins and then click on new login. So we're making a new login. Give this login a name, so maybe it's Bob. Switch the mode to SQL Server Authentication, and then type in the password, say Bob and Bob. The three boxes down below that say enforce password policy, enforce password expiration, and user must change password at next login, leave checked. So when we try to log in using Bob's account, you'll see what the effect is of those. Down below, under default database, switch to my DBase. All right, and now on the left side where it says select a page, click on user mapping and put a check mark next to my DBase. Besides just creating a login, we will also be creating a user on the database object, and then just click OK at the end of this process. So notice that now under logins we have Bob. Let me expand databases, that node, and go over to my DBase and expand the security node on that. And notice that Bob is now showing here also as a user on the my DBase database. The next stage in the process is to give Bob some permission to actually do something, okay? So to accomplish that, as an example, expand the tables node and choose one of the tables. It doesn't matter which one. Right click, say, on the employees table and go to its properties. And now select permissions on the table. And now you have to, for example, find Bob. So click on search. And from this panel that says select users or roles, click browse and then select Bob. So in this panel, we are going to configure the fact that Bob will have the right to read from the table when he logs in. So make sure you see Bob right there. Click OK. So this is our user Bob. And remember, we're deciding the properties or the permissions to be applied to the table here, to the employees table. So down below, for the specific permissions, grant Bob, say, the ability to select. So check off in the column where it says grant and the row that says select, and then click OK. So now we have a login, we have a user, and we have one object with permissions given to the user. Let me collapse the nodes on the left. And the question is, how do we make use of it? In other words, how does Bob actually log in? Take a look. Click the little here that says Connect Object Explorer, and you can connect to a new server. So you can leave the server name and the server type, database engine, correct, and then switch the mode to SQL Server Authentication. Change the login name to Bob. Change the password to Bob. That's what I typed as the password, and then click Connect. Now, because of the password policy checkboxes we saw when we created the login, now we have to change our password. One of those, I believe, said you must change the password at next login, and that's why I'm being prompted with the screen. So I'm going to just type in Bob again, and then click OK, and he's logged in. Now, you have to be very careful when you have multiple users. If you look at the panel on the right side, look on the bottom, it gives you the name of the computer, the name of your SQL server, and next to that, so again, the yellow status bar on the bottom of the editor window, it tells you the currently logged in person. So when you write a query now, this will operate under my own account, the Windows-based login. Imagine instead you want to now do something under Bob's account. You've got to make a new panel on the right side. Take a look. Make sure you select that and then click New Query. And now look at the bottom of the status bar. It says Bob and then 54. I hope you see that. So now, if I write any SQL here, this is writing it under Bob's account and not my default Windows login. I'm going to expand the view for a second. And then on the left side, I'm going to expand databases, my DBase, and then tables. And notice the only table that appears to be available to Bob is the one called employees, because we gave him permission to work with only that table, and that's it. So let's see, I'm going to say under Bob's account, use my DBase Go, and then select star from employees. Can I do that? Let's see. Execute. And yes, I can. I see it here. So that is working well. Right click on employees and then go to edit top 200 rows under Bob's account. So this is some information. Try to enter a new value in one of the cells. It doesn't really matter which one. And then hit enter. And it says here the update permission was denied on the object. Well, obviously because we did not give this permission to update. So click X and now hit escape to reverse the operation. The attempt to input a new value has to be reversed by hitting escape. Close it. And lastly, let's delete this now. So imagine the person leaves. So I'm going to do this instead now. Right click. Make sure you're under Bob where it says Bob right here. So you've got name of server, version, dash, and name of user. So right click and just disconnect that. But that's not enough. Imagine you want to delete a user or a login. This is what you do. You right click, you've got to restart the server first. So right click on the server and just choose restart. If you don't do that, you might be told that the person is still logged in, and it will prevent you from deleting that login or user. So just restart the server and now take a look. Go over to security and expand the logins node. Right click on Bob and choose delete. And when you're prompted with this, just say OK. Delete that person. So this is from the logins node. And now expand the databases node. Expand my DBase. And under the security node, under my DBase, expand that node. And notice that Bob is still visible here. So right click and delete Bob from here. And now Bob is gone also from the my DBase security folder. Collapse, collapse. And that is it. So I'm going to close this panel. No. And that is it. So thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.